Hey, everybody. Welcome to our live show today. We got some special guests, Mr. Wayne Anstead, Mark Mormar from Laudisi, who distributes pipes and things. We're going to get started here. Good afternoon, Wayne. How are you today?
I'm doing just great, Tom. Glad to be back. I'd like to introduce Mark, who is with us. Mark Mortimer from the Laudisi company. He'll tell you a little bit about himself. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, hi, how are you, Wayne? I'm from, our main company is Laudisi Enterprises. I'm East Coast Territory Manager for LDG, which is the Laudisi Distribution Group. So our end is the wholesale side. Our company, we acquired and now own the Peterson pipe brand out of Dublin, Ireland, a little over a year ago. We are the importers to the U.S. for Savinelli pipes, and we also own and distribute Cornell and Deal tobaccos. We're sort of, when it comes to sort of high-end tobacco pipes and tobaccos, we're, as good as it gets, I'd say. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. In terms of myself, my history with pipes actually goes back to cigars originally when I was 18 years old. For the longest time, I was smoking 3 or 4 cigars a day. And one thing that I noticed was that on the pipe side, people were always telling me that there were different sort of flavor profiles. I didn't really quite get it until I really started to try it maybe 7 or 8 years ago in an earnest way and playing around with tobacco blends and so on. And find that not just myself, but a lot of the smokers out there are finding something a little bit new and different on the pipe side than what they normally do even on the cigar side.
Well, cool. Thank you, Mark. So one of the reasons we decided to put this little video chat, we welcome anybody that's kind of joined us here via Facebook, is we want to talk a little bit about pipe smoking. There's been a lot of requests and interest in it. People have been stuck at home, not sure what to do. So one of the nice things here at Anstead is most of the folks that work here are all pipe smokers, so we can help you out with any questions you may have, specifics about pipes. First thing we recommend, anytime you buy or give us a call, go online and get one of our little free pamphlets that we have, the Happy Rewards of Pipe Smoking. I always tell my new employees, if they're cigar smokers that come to work with us, and we try to teach everybody about pipes, I said, if you spend 5 minutes reading through this little pamphlet, you'll know more than most every customer out there, because most people don't go look at the details. It tells you how to load the pipe, how to clean the pipe, things that you should or shouldn't do. So pipes are kind of unique, as Mark mentioned. The flavor profile is different. People think of a flavored cigar as sweet. Pipe tobacco is a different kind of sweetness. It's not a sugar sweet, it's a flavor sweet. So it's a totally different profile, and it's extremely economical way to smoke. So there are 2 basic implements that are sold worldwide that are probably the best for the pipe. One of them is briar. Briar is actually the root of a heath bush. It gets as big as a basketball. This is a piece of raw chunk of briar. It's as big as a basketball in 100 to 200 years. It's hard. It's about one of the only woods that you can actually burn tobacco inside without the wood catching fire, and that's important. So as you smoke a pipe, the wood absorbs the heat, the moisture, the tar, nicotine. So it seasons it and flavors it, and the pipe gets better and better with age. If you buy a good pipe, it'll last you a lifetime. So literally, I have pipes here. I'm smoking a Savinelli here in honor of Mark being with us here. And this is what I actually bought. I think it says 1989. It was the pipe of the year, 1989. So it's one of my favorite Savinellis. I like the octagon shank. So briar is probably one of those popular pipes you see all the time. They probably rough cut it out, something like this, with a bandsaw, and then it's drilled, the stems fitted, and everything like that. So that's probably the most popular material. We also sell a pipe that's meerschaum. Meerschaum is a fossilized seashell. Basically, it's tiny sea urchins and creatures that died billions of years ago, formed a layer in the ocean, and now is strip mined or now deep mined in Turkey. It's probably one of the only places in the world there are accessible deposits of meerschaum. It's like light as a feather, extremely porous, and it's typically the pipes you'll see in our store. They're pure white usually. This is just a raw chunk of meerschaum we managed to pick up from 20, 30 years ago. they actually control this material. It's not allowed out of Turkey unless it's a finished product. So you never see chunks of it, so you can't ever make your own pipe or anything of that nature. Using meerschaum pipes, what's unique about it, there's 60 grades of meerschaum. We carry the top 3. SMS is our company of choice. Their pipes are probably the best value out there, and the quality is phenomenal. And they go handpick the pipes every year in Turkey, and then we handpick them from them. So pipe selection is something we'll be here to help you with. We have pipes that typically start in about the $50 range to $125 is what we would call our sweet spot. A lot of people go, ooh, that seems kind of expensive for a pipe. But people will spend $100, $150 on a handful of cigars every day, and they're back next week for the same thing. So remember, you buy your pipe, and you have it for a lifetime. You can take care of it. So
that's true. They've always said that pipe smoking after the initial pipe investment, based on your choice, what you like, what you see, how it fits in your hand, it's very economical compared to cigars or other products, because you can light up a pipe, and if you're busy doing something, you can stick it in your pocket, come back later, pull it out, light it up again. I watched my grandfather do that for many, many times, so it's pretty good. But we do have some questions already from some folks, so maybe some folks can help us out with this one. The first one is from Michael McCaskill. Filters or not in pipes? How do filters impact the draw? It's a good question.
It's a good question, Mike. So basically, what you pay when you're buying a pipe, when you're getting this block of wood, is the quality of the material. So the pipe is technically your filter. The pipe absorbs your heat, your moisture, your tar, your nicotine, and that seasons and flavors the pipe. Now, there's a caveat to that. Savinelli makes what they call a dry system. And the dry system is a triangular shaped filter of balsa wood that's inserted into the shank of the pipe. And where most filters in like your Medicos, Dr. Grabo's, or other commercially made, and even some of the German pipes, the 9mm ones, once that filter starts to clog up through this while you're smoking it, it's going to maybe restrict your draw and affect the way the pipe smokes for you. With the Savinelli's concept is it picks up some of the extra moisture that comes through the shank. So a lot of people will use the filters in the beginning, and they continue to use them if they prefer it, or you can smoke the pipe perfectly well without it. So it kind of gives you a choice. So our recommendation is no filter, or at least go with the Savinelli triangular, because it doesn't restrict the draw at all. But a good question. Thank you, Michael.
Let me just add something quickly to that, Wayne.
Absolutely.
So with the Savinelli, all the Savinelli pipes now, they ship with in each box the filters and an extra packet of filters as well. But there's also a small adapter. So the reason for that is that, so if you start smoking your Savinelli with the filter and you have a little bit of restricted draw, even before it gets a lot of moisture in it, because of the balsa is there, it restricts the draw slightly. And then if you take it out completely, for some people immediately, now it feels like that the draw is a lot heavier than they were getting before, which is true because now you don't have the instruction. So they also come with a very small adapter that you can put in there and just temporarily, so you don't have a filter, but now you have a slightly smaller air hole. So that impedes the draw slightly, and then so you might want to try the filter, then the adapter, and then removing it completely, or just smoke it without anything to begin with.
And that brings up an excellent point I'd like to address real quick, because the most critical thing, the most challenging thing for new pipe smokers is loading the pipe. People don't take the time. It's the first thing they talk about in our little happy rewards of pipe smoking. It tells you the proper way. And what you basically want to do is you want to load a pipe to where the tobacco is loose at the bottom, kind of medium in the center, and snugged up at the top. And it's because a lot of our customers are cigar smokers and they're going to a pipe. They understand how well a well-made cigar draws. It's easy to smoke, it's relaxing, it's enjoyable. If it's too tight to draw, or if it's too loose, shame, that's the roller's fault. So when you're packing your pipe, the key is to load it properly. If it's not loaded properly and you're not getting that same draw out of a perfect cigar, then it's your fault. But it takes practice, because as you smoke different tobaccos, the cuts are going to vary. I always like to pipe load a pipe a little bit on the loose side, and we love to do that for a new guy. When you come in, or gal that comes in to get a pipe, we'll load the pipe for you, and we'll load it up. We'll let you feel how it should draw properly. And then if you load it a little bit loose to start with, then you take your pipe tool, your tamper, and you tamp it down to where you have the exact draw that you want. So like Mark was saying, you can play with the air restriction, but that can all be done in how you load the tobacco. But that is a great question. And the biggest challenge, I've seen people who smoke pipes. I've been in this pipe business for 40 some years. And before there were pipe shops in the United States, it was kind of unique for a guy to come into a store that sold pipes. They used to just buy them in the drugstore. And people didn't know how to load a pipe. I'd watch a guy, hey, try this tobacco. And he would just stuff it in there. And then I watch him try to light it. And all it does is you fight it. You're drawing so hard that the smoke never travels through the pipe. The bowl doesn't absorb any heat. The shank doesn't absorb any heat. The stem doesn't. It all goes right to your tongue. So you get a real hot smoke. The same thing if you pack it too loose. So packing a pipe just right is a key. What did you say, Mark?
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And Wayne, so here's my question. So a novice smoker, they come in, you show them how to pack it. They go home and sort of mistakenly pack it too tightly, right? And so one way to tell that, of course, is before you even light it, take a draw. If you're not able to draw on it, or it's too loose, like you're just getting air, then of course, that's easy to pack it down. But so somebody packs it too tightly to begin with, what do you recommend? Do you recommend that they say take a pipe tool and loosen it up, or remove it completely when you start?
If you haven't lit the tobacco, on your pipe tool, the check tool has been around 100 years, maybe longer than pipes. You can stick this down to the bowl and actually loosen the tobacco up and play with it. If you haven't lit it, I would dump it out and reload it, start from scratch. Now, when I tell people that let's say you light it and you're 10 minutes into it and you're constantly relighting it, at that point, pipe tobacco is pretty inexpensive. Dump it out, reload it, and enjoy the rest of your smoke. If you got 45 minutes to an hour to enjoy a pipe, enjoy it, load it properly. An ounce of tobacco that we sell on our tobacco bar on average is about $3.95. That will last you probably a week to 10 days. So you get an $8 cigar lasts you an hour, which, hey, we all love cigars. But a pipe tobacco is something you don't have to worry about it as much. So if you don't load it up right, start over fresh and enjoy the experience.
I got a couple more questions that came in.
Okay.
Mark, you can help us out with these. The first one is from our good friend Tim Vanderpool. Could you kind of go over the difference between sandblast and rustic?
Sure.
We see that a lot in different pipes. Yeah.
So you typically have on a briar pipe, you have three different sorts of finishes. You have a smooth pipe where you're starting either way with basically a smooth briar. And from that point on, you can either keep it smooth and simply stain it, or leave it natural. The pipes from 7 million cubes in are perfectly natural with no stain. But in terms of the texture of the briar in the bowl of the pipe, then there are two different processes. So the rustication, you're starting with the smooth pipe, and then by hand on a little Dremel, there are people who actually go around the pipe and put a texture in it. It's usually deeper. So the easiest way to basically describe it to begin with is that a rusticated pipe is going to have not necessarily a rougher, but a deeper texture. And as I said, it's done by hand, and there's usually a pattern, and different pipe makers will do it with different sort of patterns and how they do it. The sandblast is what you might typically think of in any sort of sandblasting. In fact, at Peterson just bought a new sandblasting machine, and it's a hand done process to make sure that it's done carefully. But you're using a sandblasting machine to add a texture to the briar of the pipe. It's not going to be as rough or deep, but it adds a really nice, interesting feel as you're holding it in your hand. And the preference then becomes what you like the feel and the look of. It doesn't, none of these affect the smoking of the pipe. It's more aesthetics than anything else.
Yeah, I'm actually smoking a true, and I don't think you really can't see the detail in the light, but yeah, maybe get a little bit there. This is actually a sandblasted pipe.
Right.
And to me, it's actually beautiful. And, we'll go into internet rumors here in a minute. And one thing is we can address about it is what some people's thoughts are on smooth pipes versus rough finish. Have any other questions there, Tom? We lost Tom over there. Well, I'm just going to go right into
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I just have to say hello, everybody.
Okay.
Read some things. So this is a good question again for Mark while he shows us that pretty. Was that rusticated, Mark?
Also rusticated.
Okay.
So you want to hold up again your plane very well. So as you can see, there's texture to both, but with with Wayne's pipe, it's not quite as, let's say, craggy. Both feel really nice in the hand. I'm sorry, Thomas, you had a question?
Yeah, the next question, Mark, came in. This question is from Jason Kennedy. Speaking of the pipe of the year, when will the Peterson's pipe of the year 2020 drop?
That's a good question. We don't have a hard date for it yet. I know we're working on it. You know, one of the complications with the situation that we're all in the world right now is that our factory had shut down for quite some time. We're just beginning to gear back up again in Dublin. So I don't want to say we're behind, but we're certainly not ahead of schedule. And I wish I had a very specific answer for you, and I can tell you exactly when that would be. If you stay tuned and you know, keep in touch with Anstead, they'll be able to give you a heads up, because as soon as I know, I will let them know.
And a lot of times we see them around our big pipe and cigar show every year, PCA, which is scheduled for July. A lot of times new products are introduced and shown for the first time there. So I wouldn't have expected it this early, but I still think there's a possibility that we could see them in July sometime.
Yeah, that's a good possibility.
Cool. Andy Webb's got a great question. What are some of the reasons for a pipe constantly going out? And I've heard that a few times from a few people, and I think it's all about packing it. But go ahead, Wayne. Give us some input.
Again, it's going to boil down to the basics of loading it. A pipe will go out. Just like a cigar, it's all natural tobacco. There's no burning agents or anything. So a cigar, if you don't puff on it, it obviously goes out. Well, because a pipe, the tobacco is actually down in a bowl, there's less oxygen to it. So you're likely to have a pipe go out faster than a cigar, mainly because there's less oxygen to it. So what I recommend that some people do, so you know, as long as you're puffing on it, it stays lit. But let's say you quit puffing for a few minutes, and it maybe wants to go out on you. If you have it packed too tight or too loose, that's going to happen no matter what. But one thing you can lightly do is blow through the stem. You generate just a little bit of smoke instead of having to puff on it. That little bit of air to it keeps the pipe lit, and so when you go back for a puff, you're still going. So if you load a pipe properly, you can keep it lit. But just blowing through the stem just a little bit. Now, I always try to tell new smokers this too. If you can hold a pipe to your cheek, it feels too hot. You're smoking it too hot. Set it down, let it cool off, let it go out, tamp it back down, and relight it. Good question, though.
Let me just add to that, Wayne, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the way that you smoke, again, like a cigar, if you aren't puffing frequently, of course, the cigar will go out as well. More likely it would happen faster with a pipe, but it's also how you tamp. So think of a fireplace or campfire, a small campfire, where you have a fire and then you get some ash and some embers, and you're going to have to add something to it. You have two choices. You can either move the embers together and you get a little bit more of the flame. It's a little bit the same with tamping with pipe. So as you light the top, you're going to see ash on the top. Underneath that is going to be way down below, of course, is going to be the tobacco itself that might not be lit at all yet. And between are going to be sort of slight embers. And if you tamp properly and regularly, not too frequently, but you're condensing the ash on the top and applying then the ember to the loose unlit tobacco underneath, and you're able to keep it going. So everybody has to find their tempo. All that's going to be on how quickly you're puffing, the large draw that you're taking. As Wayne says, if you're taking very big draws all the time, it's just smoking hot, and that creates its own problems. But every once in a while, you want to just, you know, take maybe a deep draw and then just a slight puff through it to keep it going. And just bear in mind that if you're not seeing or tasting the flavor in the smoke, that's a good time to start thinking.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark.
Great question. I'll add one real quick thing to it.
Make it quick.
It's a question about whether you should knock the ash. Let's say you smoked your pipe about halfway through, and it's some of the things as you smoked a pipe for years you don't even think about. So these questions are good because it kind of brings to mind thinking a little bit more what we do just naturally all the time. Sometimes you're about half to 3/4 of the way down. If you take your pipe tool and just loosen up some of that ash on the top and just tap it into your ashtray very, very carefully, lightly tamp your tobacco back down. It's like Mark says, it exposes those embers. And
don't drink it, Wayne.
And the ducks are coming in.
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't mute my phone there. But yeah, so you can lightly knock the ash off. That will help with the burn too.
All right. Another good question just came in again from Mike McCaskill. For an evening of pipe smoking, should I rotate between a couple of pipes or stick with one pipe?
Mark, you want to take that one or you want me? We probably both have a similar answer.
Yeah, we'll both have a similar answer. I think, look, I guess part of the question is on the evening of pipe smoking, should I rotate a couple of pipes or stick with one pipe for the whole evening we're talking about? I guess it depends on how long the evening is, what type of, how wet you smoke your pipe or dry you smoke your pipe, and if you're going to be changing tobaccos as well. So if you decide if you're smoking a pipe and you're smoking, say, a heavy aromatic, and then you decide, you know what, I'd like to smoke an English, at that point, I might probably switch a pipe because you're going to get some of the flavor. It's going to be so fresh in the pipe that maybe you're going to want to switch pipes, but it's not absolutely necessary. Again, it also depends on how wet you smoke it. So if the bowl itself seems a little bit wet, if you've been smoking it pretty hot, you might want to switch. But in general, you don't have to switch pipes. It's not absolutely necessary. I mean, you can survive with one pipe your entire life if you're smoking it, cautiously and taking care of it.
Back to that kind of a simple rule of thumb. I think if you smoke a pipe more than 4 or 5 times in a day, it should rest a day or two before you smoke it again. Because what that wood is actually doing for you, it's constantly absorbing the heat, the moisture, the tar, the nicotine is where your flavor comes from, but mostly the moisture. So as that bowl absorbs that moisture, which is where the flavor comes from and where you season a pipe and what makes a pipe better, but you want it to dry out. It's kind of like a pair of shoes. You can't wear the same pair of shoes every day. So you need to set the pipe aside, let it rest for a couple of days before you smoke it. And then it dries, and the pipe, whenever you hear, sometimes you read the pipe went sour. It's because you let the pipe stay wet all the time. So make sure you rotate. If you're smoking it 4 or 5 times one night, absolutely put it up for the next day. And at that point, a lot of people have, more than one pipe in their collection for a multitude of reasons. But you want to be able to rotate your pipes around. Most people do find their favorite. That's the one they smoke. But yeah, you want to rotate them if you're smoking them a lot.
Yep. It's a good question. I'm going to give one more question, and then I'm going to ask a Mark question after this viewer's question. So here's one more question. What are your thoughts on rehumidifying pipe tobacco that's dried out?
Well, it's the easiest thing in the world to do and the best thing to do. I tell people all the time, you cannot ruin pipe tobacco unless you really, really try. Once it starts to dry out, loses some of its moisture, it just takes you, throw it into a bowl, wet your hands under the faucet, just a little bit of moisture on it, run it through the tobacco, kind of get the moisture off your hands into the tobacco, and then put it back in your Ziploc bag. In 12 to 24 hours, it's going to be like new again. And it's ready to smoke. And you can do that a couple of times, as long as you never let it go to the point to where the oils have dried up. If the oils dry up, then you've lost all your flavor. Other options are, they've got little Bovita packs now that you can throw down into them, or humidification discs that we sell that you can throw into it. It takes a little bit more time to do that, to bring it back that way. But yeah, you can revive pipe tobacco quite a bit. It's an easy product to take care of.
Cool. One last question. It's a long one. Let's see if it fits on the screen. Thanks, Wayne. He's been smoking pipe every day for just over a decade, always learning something new. Do you still learn something new about pipe smoking after all these years? And what have you learned lately?
Yeah, that is a good question. Everybody has their favorite tobacco. I'm smoking Old Carolina. That's probably our number one tobacco we actually blend here in the store. I always tell people, if your grandfather smoked a pipe, it's probably similar to this. It's half Virginia, half Burley, a honey rum maple flavor profile. It's a great everyday, all day smoke. I probably don't know that I learn a whole lot now, more new about pipes, but as I smoked them, you're going to find certain things in a pipe that you like. Maybe, you like a flat stem pipe. Like, for example, Peterson, a lot of people like the P-lip. Personally, I don't care for the round lip. I find it better to have a wider bit. You can get a few more teeth on it, and you get a more comfortable hold in your mouth. Everybody, 98% of the pipes we sell, especially to new people, are bent, full bent pipes. That's just what people like. It's what they go to. I did the same thing. But over time, I realized that, hey, I'm really more comfortable with just a slight bend. That's what works for me. Some people I have straight ones as well too. But you'll find a shape that works and is most comfortable for you to smoke. The other thing is always tobaccos to try. I'm kind of a meat and potato guy, so it takes a lot to me. So to try something different. Some of the guys here, a lot of our guys here, a lot of our customers are always trying different tobaccos. And I'll light up a bowl, but I kind of have my favorites and I stick to them. But I like to rotate around and try. Love to light a Kia. I like English. I love aromatics. I like it all. But yeah, I wouldn't say I learn a whole lot more, but there's a lot to pipe smoking that you pick up over time. Thanks for the question.
Yep. So with a couple things that are going on, Mark, you represent Savinelli for us and Peterson, and also you represent a few different pipe tobaccos like Cornell Deal. Anything new coming out recently or in the near future?
Mm-hmm. So actually, we just dropped 3 new Savinelli tobaccos. Actually manufactured by Cornell Deal for a new Savinelli brand. They are based on some Greek gods, the Jupiter, the Janus, and the Juno. Just announced this past week, and I believe that Anstead's going to be carrying some of them and give it a try. We will have the next drop is sort of exciting. We do a series of small batch reserves that are limited production, numbered tins. We just did one last month, Carolina Red Flake with 18-year-old Greek in it, which was spectacular. Those send fly off the shelves, and we will have one coming out soon. This is sort of a little precursor for all of you out there called San Sepulchre, which we did last year. It's a really interesting dark fire conductive base that I'm sure that Anstead is going to be carrying. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to be doing a few throughout the year, but that will be the next one, and you'll see an announcement in the next 2 weeks.
Cool.
I would come in and reserve your tins soon if you wanted them, because those are the type of things that once we announce it, say on a Tuesday, by Thursday morning, we're out of inventory.
Yeah.
So try to get ahead.
Let us know if you're interested in this new. That's a Cornell Deal, right? Small batch.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. Let us know if you're interested. We will take pre-orders so that you have a can reserved for you. It's been very popular. We reordered a couple of them a couple times just till we ran out. We couldn't get any more of the first batch. And the second batch, we have a little bit left, not much, but we'll pre-order for this new one coming out, which should be really popular. That sounds pretty good. Quick question from some of our good friends over here, Scott and Vivian Roberts. How does the length of a stem affect the smoke? I always thought that, like a church warden or something, it gave the smoke a little time to cool off a little bit, maybe, or does that affect the flavor?
No, it absolutely does. I have a pipe hanging outside the front of the store that's got about a 15 to 18 inch stem. The bowl's about as big around as a softball. Though I've never smoked it, but it's probably the biggest pipe I've ever seen. It'd probably be the coolest pipe you ever did smoke, but it's not practical. Long stem church wardens are popular because, like I said, you got the tobacco burning here. The minute you take a puff on it, it's drawing it up the stem. So if you're relaxing and smoking a pipe properly, some of that smoke's kind of hanging out there before your next puff comes. In a church warden stem, where you got 12 inches, the draw, it enables it to really cool down a bit. So it does make a huge difference in how the pipe smokes. And like, again, more people smoke a pipe at home now than they used to. People used to go out and about with them. We actually sell a lot of church wardens because it is something you can sit back, relax with, and get an incredible smoke. But yeah, the stem does make it smoke cooler.
That's pretty cool. Let's see if there's any more questions. I think there might be one. Someone has another question. It's pretty long also. We did talk a little bit about, his pipe keeps going out and what forces him to keep drawing ending up with a tone bite, he says. Recommendations, it's about packing that pipe. We talked about that. Raphael, go back, rewatch the video because it'll still be on Facebook, and we'll talk about that. His second part of that question was, due to the wide range of pipe prices, what's a good pipe that you'd recommend for a beginner? A couple different answers here, some from Wayne and some from Mark.
Yeah.
Wayne, why don't you start, and then we'll hit up Mark with his
Okay.
his comment.
So one thing we've noticed in the last couple of years, our pipes start right at about $50. We have a good quality briar pipe made in Italy. It's branded with our name. Sadly enough, the guy retired. We bought the last 40 dozens from him last year. When they're gone, they're gone. So we're going to be on the search for some other pipes as well. But we have a couple of them that fall into that price range. 40 to $50 is a good way to start. It kind of depends on your wallet and your pocket. What I kind of look as a sweet spot is for us here at Anstead's, is somewhere between 50 and 125. The older, the harder, the age of the wood does affect the way it smokes to a certain degree. The workmanship, the quality makes a difference. One thing to watch for is you go online and you see, oh man, here's a pipe for $12 or 18 or 22, but it's not briar. Make sure it's briar. That is the wood that you want your pipe made of. They're making them out of all kinds of woods. I see them online all the time. I see people bring them in here, and a lot of times they come in with problems. They crack, they split. Briar was engineered by God to be a pipe because it's the perfect material. It's not that you can't mess them up, but it doesn't happen very often if you take the least amount of care. So I would say, depending on your budget, $50 to $125. I mean, we have pipes up to $3,000 here at Anstead's. That we don't sell too many like that, but we have them. And it's, and I also look at it this way. Once you start getting over $300, I don't know that you get a better smoke out of a pipe. You're now buying maybe artwork, a rarity, incredible straight grain. Like if you look at this pipe, it's $3,000. It's made by Tsugi in Japan. It's absolutely the most gorgeous piece of wood. It's just a gorgeous pipe. It's not for everybody. And will it smoke any better than your $250 pipe? Probably not. But, you have something to show your friends and something to talk about, and it looks nice. So artwork comes at a certain point. I'm going to say 50 to 125 is a sweet spot. How about you, Mark? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And across the board, that's what we're seeing. In the end, I think it's about finding the pipe that you will want to smoke at whatever price point. I think you want to start certainly with a good quality briar. That's the basic there. A lot of these so-called basket pipes where you're getting a $10 or $15 pipe, yes, it can be smoked, but it probably won't last very long. And then you go through them, and you're not going to get the same smoke out of those. You start with a basic, really good quality briar. Place like Anstead, so people walk you through that aspect of it. They're not going to sell you a pipe that isn't high quality to begin with because they're not going to carry it. So going to the right pipe store is going to matter, certainly. But in the end, the shape, the finish, has to be something that you're going to want to pick up and smoke at the price point that you can afford, that you're comfortable with. There is the point of diminishing returns, right? Where you will get a more beautiful piece of artwork, but it won't smoke any better, as Wayne says. $3,000 pipe isn't really going to smoke any better than a $200 pipe, assuming the briar is going to be quality.
And a pipe kind of fits you. I think it's something after working in the pipe world. We've been in a pipe shop longer than we've been in a cigar shop because it was pipes back in the day. But when a person walks in and says, I want to smoke a pipe, you kind of eye the person up and you can pick a pipe to fit a person. So, a guy that's, 6'7", probably weighs 280 pounds, I'm not going to get him a little print shape or a petite pipe. You're going to find a shape that you like or a design or a company that makes a pipe that you like, and that's where you'll go. So the thing I want to point out, though, is your investment in a pipe is a lifetime. Unless you lose it, you should be smoking that pipe 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now.
That's part of the beauty of pipes. I mean, there are two aspects to pipes as opposed to, not to play on cigars exactly, but, a pipe will last you to take care of it your entire life. That is an investment. So even if you spend a couple of dollars more than you thought you would walking into a store, if you love that pipe, if you were only going to spend $100, but you found one that you love at $125, you can have that the rest of your life. It's worth that extra $25, certainly. And then the other side to it is the tobacco side, where a shop like Anstead's and in general, where we have a Cornell and we have over 300 different blends of tobaccos. So, one of the fun parts is you can say, well, I love this particular blend, but I wish it was just a tad sweeter. We have something for that. Or, say, I wish it were a tad smokier. We have something for that. So you can go, varying areas of the entire spectrum of flavors that you can't really do, unfortunately, with cigars, which makes it an awful lot of fun. And you can even get into blending your own. The whole idea is Wayne was saying, the idea that a pipe that will fit your personality. Seven really makes pipes with this really cool, interesting Oceano with white and blue swirled stem. A younger guy might really like that color as opposed to, the grandfather pipe that was maybe a simple straight, black stem on. You can play with it all different sorts of ways and really get something that fits your personality and your palate.
That's good. Good information for a lot of the viewers. I know we also do some corn cob pipes. They're not the premium pipe, but they are a really good way for people to start that initial try to see if they like pipe smoking. And usually within a few days, they're back buying their first Briar or Meerschaum pipe because they just fall in love with the aroma, the flavor, and how relaxing it is.
Yeah, so, I think it's a really, really good point. In fact, with the shops that I have that aren't as well educated as Anstead is, saying trying to they're really sort of pushing these sort of basket pipes on it. They lead with those. I say, you know what? Get yourself some corncob pipes like Missouri Meerschaum. And somebody who comes in for the first time, if they're not sure, to spend $10 or $15 on that and, an ounce of tobacco, they're into it for less than $20. Try it. If you love it, then come in and find what you really want. If you don't want to make the investment up front, that's a better investment than going into a shop that's going to sell you a $20 pipe or a $30 pipe that isn't quality, that's not going to smoke well, and now that's going to smoke in the pipe. So, the sort of shops like Anstead's are really valuable to have in the marketplace.
What was the name of that store again? I didn't hear you.
I believe it's Anstead's.
That's Ansteads.com. There you go.
Right. So I'm going to get to the next part, which we have a lot of patient people watching. That's great. We do have a little trivia question for them. I don't think I've decided what we might award the winners, but they will have the next couple days to comment as this video is still up on Facebook and it'll be on YouTube. We're streaming the both right now. So next couple days, be sure to do your research, put your answer in the comments, and we're about to give you that question. I know Mark's got 2 good questions for us today. Go ahead, Mark. What's the first trivia question for the day?
So the first trivia question is, what year, they're both sort of year-oriented, what year was Captain Peterson founded in Dublin, where we still manufacture all our pipes, by the way? So
what year was the Peterson pipes founded?
Correct.
All right. So do your research, folks. You have got time to answer. All correct answers will be assigned a winning ticket. Well, one of them's a winning ticket. We'll find out which one. And then we'll go live next week, Wayne and I, and we will draw the 2 winners. What's the next question, Mark? Should be pretty good.
Question, also Peterson oriented, which is really sort of interesting. And we'll, even looking it up, will get you into some of the history of Peterson pipes is, what year was our first patent for Peterson system pipes? Which is really that we could do an entire show just on the Peterson system. But so what year was the first patent for the Peterson system?
Those are really good questions. I'll have to do my research myself, so I make sure I have the right answers. And Wayne, Mark, what do you think we should award the winners of this raffle once we draw their name?
A
new car?
That's a thought there, yeah.
That's been done before. Game shows do that. We're original. We're not doing a new car. What do you think, Wayne, Mark?
We'll come up with something. Maybe we'll find a nice leather tobacco pouch or something like that to give away, and maybe we can talk Mark into donating something to give away as a second prize.
I'm sure you can probably.
There you go. Awesome. We'll sure try.
That sounds good. Well, Mark, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. Like a lot of pipe smokers, we ran long in our talks. Usually we do 30 minutes. We're at a record-breaking 42, 43 minutes. But I think people enjoyed hearing what we had to say, and appreciate you coming down and joining us live on Facebook and YouTube today.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. If you want to sort of take a look at what the entire catalog looks like, we're at www.laudisi.com. That's LAUDISI.com. You'll be able to see, the pipes. I mean, obviously, Anstead has a large selection of Petersons and Savinellis, but just in case they don't have something that you're looking for, you can always see it. If something catches your eye, you can come in and talk to anybody here and say, hey, I saw this, and they'll order it for you and get it to you in a couple of days.
And just to add a little bit of something, we carry a lot of pipes. So I can't buy a pipe off the internet. There's certain things I can't buy off the internet. You have to touch it, feel it, whatever. If you see a pipe that you like, we'll order it. We'll bring it in, and you're not obligated to purchase it. Just come in and let us know you're interested. We'll call up, bring it in here. You can touch it, feel it, and make your decision from there. But we just buying a pipe on pipe. A pipe is just too personal, I think, to buy online. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
It is, and we've got a lot of great folks that work here that can help you out with showing you the pipes, talking about them, giving you one of those pamphlets that we have that's really nostalgic, but it tells you everything you want to know about caring for a pipe, loading a pipe, smoking a pipe. We can help you with your tobacco choice selection, since we've got so many different kinds. And most of these guys have smoked quite a few of them to try them, so they all know what they're like. It's a good time.
So I'm going to throw one thing out there as we wrap this up. I always try to make sure our staff tells everyone, when we have cigar smokers come into the pipe, this is the worst thing you can use on your pipe. That's a torch lighter.
An ST DuPont torch lighter or any torch lighter?
It is an ST DuPont. Don't use any torch lighter. It literally burns at 2,500 degrees. And like I said, briar can withstand the heat of the burning tobacco, but burning tobacco better not be 2,500 degrees. You will absolutely ruin your pipe with a torch lighter. So use good old faithful matches, or we have pipe lighters that are soft flames. So never, ever, ever, not even once, use a torch lighter on your pipe.
Yeah, buy your DuPont at Anstead's for your cigar, and buy your Freebie at Anstead's for your pipe.
There you go.
And for those folks who are Zippo fanatics, they do make a pipe lighter insert
Correct,
for Zippos and Zippo pipe lighters. So we've got the entire selection of accoutrements for all the pipe smokers out there. Pipe pouches, good things. So come on by. And any questions, be sure to send them to us. And don't forget to watch the whole video again. Come back, put your comments in for those trivia questions. And next week, we're going to draw some raffle tickets. It's a scientific process. Everyone gets assigned a specific raffle ticket. There's no cheating. So we pull them randomly, and it's a good time.
We do it live.
We do it live. So thank you again, Mark, Wayne. Appreciate all the time here. And everyone for tuning in and watching. We'll see you again next week. We've got 2 more shows next week. 2. So it's going to be busy for us.
It is.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for coming.